This conference will now be recorded.
Still have that.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Former that.
It's 4:31, and I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order of the Roswell General Services Committee. Could I have a roll call?
Counselor Foster,
Here?
Counselor Moore,
Here.
Counselor Best,
Here.
Counselor Pesa. Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
All right, could I get a motion for an approval of the agenda and minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda and the minutes from the July 28th, 2021 meeting.
I'll second.
Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It passes. All right, let's move on to number 2, the consider review ranking of the top two capital ICIP projects for each. So library comes up first.
Enid, would you like me to do the screen for you, or would you like to do it?
It's only one screen.
No, but like, do you want to click? Is it only one page?
You just did that. So it's 2 pages, actually.
Okay.
So we have a lengthy list that we've been working on. And the first one that we recommend for purchasing using the capital improvement money is for air scrubbers. And I'm glad that Trent is here. Air scrubbers are different than air purifiers. Air purifiers just move the air and dust around it. Air scrubbers actually take the air out and vent it out. Am I correct, Trent?
Yes.
And Trent has given me the code for that. We want to start off, if we get this, we want to start off with the Malone room. That's where we do our children's programming. Then move it over to the Bondurant room. That's where other people do programming. And then move it on to other places in the library. So essentially we want to get dust, pollen, germs, viruses out of the air in the library. So our first one is the air scrubbers. Our second one is remove and replace carpet. Our carpet is, well, it got flooded, but we did get that cleaned up. But we also have these circles in the floors and triangles and squares. And those are getting sprayed and getting kind of really ugly looking. We have cleaned it, but the yellow carpet still looks dirty. We have strategically placed other carpet and other furniture over the spots that are the worst, but really removing and replacing carpet would be our second choice. Our third choice is on the next screen. And that is the outside pavement, sidewalks, curbs, and gutters. The entrance to the library, we took down the trees because, and Jim took down the trees because they were making our sidewalks heave and hold. And right now, we then went and got from facilities some gravel so that we could kind of try to make a safe passage into the building. And it's not there yet. There are some significant, more than I would say 1 inch pavements of the pavement. So we would like to see that done. And then our fourth one, which honestly I don't think is going to get approved, is around the perimeter of the outside perimeter of the library are the names of different authors. And these have gotten rusted over the years. And so it would be good to get those cleaned up and the rest taken off. Any of the other projects are still very good. Like we are going to be replacing our computers using grant funds, and we're looking to do that in 2022 fiscal year. And we have a play and learn area that you've already approved with the Bergen group that we're using some grant funds for that too. So we are moving ahead. The only other thing to tell you is that we are looking at, we gotten property from the foundation, which is the library park. And so we're looking at using some donation money to make that an outside programming area, putting sailcloth over it, putting fencing in the area so that when we set things up, we don't have to worry about someone coming in and moving it. And then doing something to the ground so that the water kind of slopes away from rather than pooling in the area. And then maybe just painting it and doing some things there. But that I think we can pay with donation money. So it is not on the capital improvement list.
All right. Any questions?
What happened to the mobile, the mobile?
Mobile?
Yeah, that thing.
The bookmobile was going to be paid for with geo bond money. And I did get approval for that to be done. But then we lost staff. And so how I was going to keep that going was to make that a branch library. To be a branch library, it had to be out for the public for 20 hours. And then we would get state aid money that should pay for the gas and the insurance for it. When we lost that person, I couldn't sustain it. So what the plan is now is that we received a memorial gift from the Reinstate, and when we sell the house and the furniture, and the furniture, we will use that money to pay for the mobile library.
All right, I scared now. I didn't.
All right. I've got a couple more questions for you. I've still got a couple more questions for you.
Okay.
On the air scrubber, so is this a portable unit or is this, because it sounds like you.
No, it fits. Trent, you want to give some expert information rather than me just talking?
Mr. Chairman, it's a permanently mounted fixture. It does a specific amount of square feet. Essentially takes the air that's in the building, scrubs it, sends some of it back out, puts some of it back in the building, and brings in outside fresh air and scrubs that as well and puts it in the building.
Okay.
So it's a permanent mounted device in the ceiling.
All right. So that's what I was saying. So we can do the whole library for 25,000
They're 25,000
One unit.
each. Right. Well, that's what I'm.
No, it is.
So we do the math. So we do the
That's-
long run.
Yeah, my understanding was we wanted to start with the.
Well, but usually for capital outlay, we're looking at sums of more than 25,000. So that's why I was what would,
Top of my head, it'd probably take 10 units to do.
so 250,000? And that would be something that I put in for that, because if it's our number one thing, besides, it's also in the middle of this pandemic, which it fits in there. It also fits in, I think, some of our CARES Act money too.
Yeah.
So we might be looking at that, but I'd look at the whole 250,000 versus just trying to,
One.
the 25,000 just doesn't seem like something that we want to bother putting on the ICIP.
Okay. And that would be my mistake, understanding what your email was, and I just copied that.
So
So add a zero.
yeah, add a zero and we'll put 200. That one, that's where I looked at the 25 and I'm like going,
See what happens. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, because then when it got to the carpet, I was like, no, that's 793. That is something that we can be asking this. And I like the idea with the carpet squares. I know Clovis High School actually has their hallways carpeted with that. And it quietens people walking up and down the halls, but it also, if something happens, they can take that square up and replace a new one and you don't ever know.
Right,
And
that's
so-
been recommended.
So, all right. How do we want to do this? Do we want to do each one or do we want to
The way
do the
that,
top two? How would-
Mr. Chair, members, I think, for example, the committee yesterday did a motion on each of the departments of the top two, and then they approved it by motion, and then they went to the next one. That way it all depends how the committee would like to do it. Just varies from the committee.
I'm okay with their top two. Even though I think the outside, the sidewalk is more important, but if there's really hurt their top two, I'm not gonna. I think the sidewalks outside are important.
You know,
Top two is top two, I'm not gonna argue.
and I know we're doing this and everybody's sending top two. I would say let's send three with the scrubbers. And if that so fits into the CARES Act that if we need to pull it and use the CARES Act money to pay for that, that's exactly what that federal money is for, is to help us with things that will make things more healthy.
Was there the library listed at all in the CARES Act? Did it have anything for the library in the CARES Act?
The categories under the CARES Act are very general, related to COVID-related activities and improvements. So library specifically is not mentioned, but if anything, as the chair is mentioning, if they can be tied to a project that could address some of those issues, then it would qualify under that general category.
Okay, I agree with Barry. We need to go ahead and do 3 on this one, because I think if we are serious about your air scrubbers, they can be bumped out of the ICIP, which will give you 2 to move up, and we won't have to revisit the issue. My opinion, which is not worth that much.
No.
So we're
So you gotta
gonna do
make
her
a motion.
top three? We're gonna go exactly with their top three, right?
Unless you want to,
No.
4, I agree with you. The curbs and the gutters and the sidewalks are very important.
To me, definitely. Let's do that.
Well, and if you do get your air scrubbers through the CARES Act and you don't get your carpet removed and replaced, you're just defeating your purpose, because your carpet holds crud.
Smells.
So that would be defeating your purpose. And I agree with the curbs and gutters, but can that move over to Lewis since he's over there sleeping in the corner? Can you help us on the curbs and the gutters there at the library out of,
$174,000.
175.
don't give me in that tone of voice. I'm not in infrastructure.
Let me look at it, but yeah, it fits more in infrastructure.
I mean, if it's something that we can get through DOT or something, I know that they push back on that, or that actually could be through CARES too, because people are walking around outside too. I mean, you can stretch that CARES however you want to stretch it. But I'll go for the top 3. Get a motion?
Sure.
I'd like to make a motion to consider the ranking of the top 2 capital projects for the library as in, top 3, excuse me, as in 1, air scrubbers, 2, remove and replace carpet, and 3, outside pavement, sidewalks, curbs, and gutters.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
I
All opposed, same sign. It passes. All right.
Let's see, so the first one, I've given a couple presentations on in the past. That's ranked, item number 4, ranked number 1. So that is to do the museum renovation of moving the museum store from the back to the front, and then renovating the lobby and making it more conducive for flow of people, admissions, airflow, a more welcoming environment, and then to use the old museum store space to create a family interactive gallery. So since then, and I think we talked about this at one of our meetings too, we've gained $340,000 in state monies towards the project, primarily focused on the move of the museum store. So for the most part, that part's covered. And then I was interested in terms of ICIP monies to get further monies to finish off the lobby. And then the final phase of making the family gallery our foundation's interested in fundraising for. So that one, I think you were guessed overall 1.5 million. So for me, it's making up the difference between that 340 and the required amount to finish the lobby, which is, it can be, well, you have to get another updated construction cost for it, but it would be more between 450 and 650,000 for that portion of it. The second project is new flooring. So having been to the museum many times, we've got about 6 or 7, 8 different types of flooring throughout the museum. The carpeted areas are not conducive for airflow, and stuff that have been stained, a lot of it was rippling. I got as much repaired as I could over the last year using monies from the foundation. And I do periodically get it cleaned as well. It's just there's some areas that are just unraveling and coming apart and can't be further repaired that age anywhere from 25 to 30 years old. That's the carpeted sections. Other parts are just mismatched, just reflecting the different eras and age of the museum. So I do have some verbal support coming from the foundation to help with certain areas of the museum, for instance, the auditorium, the classrooms, and the catering kitchen that's on that side, and possibly the ceramic studio to update the flooring there. But I'm looking at supporting the other public areas of the museum and possibly some storage areas or work areas as well. So that's estimated at $600,000. And those are the primary 2 projects. Other things that are looming, but I have a 3, 4, and 5 is exterior signage. Again, visibility has been an ongoing issue with us, and we're trying to tie into the wayfinding project that Juanita has been working on as a part of that. We also need to have some duct work done on the roof. And I believe that's going maybe through infrastructure instead.
No, it's going to finance.
Finance, I'm sorry. So that's coming through finance, I understand, and that's a less expensive project in terms of ICIP, but $97,000. But it was a little bit of a surprise project that came up in the last couple of weeks. And as you're aware, we had our roof redone in 2016. And since then, especially with these big downpours of rain, we've had about 16, 17 leaks in the museum. And they're blaming that on duct work that hasn't been wrapped on the roof. And
Yeah,
leaks are
they
coming
blame
into
that on mine too.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Oh, yeah.
So to get that repaired and up to the level that we need it to be, that would be 97. But again, that would be going to finance. Then the last thing I have listed is the landscape and irrigation improvements, which is an ongoing issue. And again, we talked about this a little bit in general services as well. So that's number 5. At some point, it'll have to be addressed. I do periodically go after grants for it, have not got it funded yet.
So I'm very worried about leaks. I'm very paranoid about that. That's TPO over there that they put on. I don't know who put it on. They did it to me. They didn't seal it correctly. They're blaming us for it not being sealed correctly. Here it says to reinstate the warranty for the roof. Okay. I think that needs to be bumped up to 1 because that action, if it's not taken, your reaction is going to be lost artwork, more lost flooring. The new store you're going to be putting in is going to me, that is a very necessary basis foundation on top. Because
But I think finance.
is finance going to take care of all of that?
Mr. Chair and Councilor, yes, because of, as you explained it, the nature of the work that needs to be done, and Joe has determined those sort of issues need to be addressed immediately.
All right.
And that's why Trent has already reached out, got a quote for the work that needs to be done. And we are presenting it forward to finance for recommendation for awarding of that project and then moving forward to the city council.
So you're telling me it could come off this list because
It could-
guaranteed it's going to be done?
It's going to be a project, yes. It's going to be done, but it's still one of those priority projects that was on the list. This list was created prior to us moving forward with this action item. That's why it's on the list. But it almost, as a number 4, it can be kind of pushed aside, but it is going to be moving forward.
Because to me, that warranty being reinstated and saving all that artwork, ground, whatever, what we put in that building needs to be saved. And there's no reason TPO shouldn't be doing its job. Been there, done that in the last week. Thank you.
Well, and I was over there when it was leaking, and it was amazing how much water was coming down. So, so 1 and 2, any other questions?
I'd like to make a motion to consider review and the ranking the top 2 capital projects for the Roswell Museum and Arts Center. 1 would be the museum store lobby renovation, creation of family gallery and design construction. And 2 would be the new flooring. And I assume it's all going to be the same thing throughout the whole building. See now. Sorry.
I want to talk with some consultants, but I could see it being probably 2, maybe 3 types, but consistent to their functions.
Okay, thank you.
1 second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes. Oh, same sign. Those against?
Aye. Aye.
There's nobody. All right, facilities.
Mr. Chairman, councilors, our 1 and 2 items, our number 1 item is item 4, is the city hall deferred maintenance. Just to give you some background, some of the projects that we've already completed off that list were the restroom remodel downstairs. That restroom remodel was approximately $239,000. The other project was the upgrading of the elevator, which was $132,000. The next phases we'd like to look at are the additional restrooms on the first floor, second floor, and then the city hall windows. That's our number 1 item. Our number 2 item is the facility assessment phase 3, which should be the last phase of that vision and planning facility assessment. So we know can continue to build on our.
Was my ranking numbers wrong? I don't mean to be rude.
We don't have them.
Right, they don't have them.
All right.
I'm sorry, it was item 8 is our number 2.
Number 2.
What was your number? Thank you.
Number
Well, you skip the paper.
Thank you.
And the facilities assessment was the phase
No, this
3,
is a
and that's
different-
basically just doing the whole.
That's the thing.
We've done phase 1 and 2. It would be a continuation of looking at the deferred maintenance and seeing, it gives us a sign of where we're at with our buildings. We've done a substantial number of buildings, but we would then proceed to what is the next group of buildings we would like to do and have that so we can start working towards those repairs.
Why, I guess, since you were so kind of interested in the public safety campus, why didn't you not include that in some of the, numbers?
Mhm. Number 3.
Have we talked about
Number
that?
3.
Why, how you wouldn't think we put that up there again? Or am I just
We've never had it in, I mean,
on the ICP?
we have it on our IC. We've never ranked it as one of the,
I just, that's, I'm asking why we can't.
Madam.
Yeah.
Yeah, you-
Chair,
I'm asking why they didn't reconsider it. That's all.
in regards to item 3 of the public safety complex, I think right now they're looking at a different model of leasing space on the north side and the south side for the police department in the interim solution. Right now, they're still looking at the location. But as you all know, I mean, we went through the geo bond election and that failed. So that might be kind of on hold for just a bit. So that's why right now we're kind of focusing on the existing facility at City Hall and also doing the next phase of the facility assessment for the other buildings that have not been studied yet.
I'm not happy. Look, I'm not happy, but okay.
well, and it is, it's one of those things, since we are in the middle of trying to redo the model of splitting up our police department from north and south. And since we have phase 1 and phase 2 already done, do you know a percentage of our buildings that we've covered with phase 1 and phase 2?
We've done our main facility, what I would consider our main structure. This continue on to like our substructure. So, different administrative buildings like park, admin building, buildings like that. But we have done what I would call our core structures. This would be a continuation of that. All those buildings we would discuss and rank and be in conversation with committees on what we think the next group of buildings would be.
So do we have, on phase 1, phase 2, do we have a published
Yes.
findings? Okay, so that's one of those things I think I'd like to get a copy of, just so that I have an understanding of what we're.
So how do you have, I'm sorry,
Go
how do
ahead.
you have a number for phase 3 if we don't even know which buildings or whatever? How do you have a estimation if you say you really don't know which building?
We just base that on the number of buildings and square foot per assessment. So it gave us a baseline to look at.
You good? I'd like to make a motion to consider review and ranking of top 2 capital projects from, what are we calling this one?
Facilities.
Facility maintenance, it's not written on here. 1 would be city hall deferred maintenance and 2 would be facility assessments.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. All right, now cemetery.
I saw, I see.
Mr. Counselor,
Sorry.
Mr. Counselors. Hi. We talk about a cemetery. Actually got them numbered. Install a water well. It's 1, 2, and 3 are all the irrigation systems. We talked with Lewis. Obviously, the cemetery is going to keep growing and the system's extremely old. So we need to start with a water well, a backflow preventer, and then replace irrigation system number 3. That's basically the 4-inch pipe that starts going around the cemetery. What we're trying to accomplish with this is to have some backup and put an irrigation line all the way around the cemetery in a circle. That way the pressure's even all the way through, and then we can start branching off of that. So as it keeps growing, like I say, we're at 32,000 headstones right now. We're opening another couple blocks, and it's just stressing the system we have now. And these numbers are with some substantial help from Lewis Sahara and Infrastructure and the Water Department and everybody else and their brother helping us out with this. So that'll be the next thing on our list that we need to do is the irrigation. And it is 1, 2, and 3, but it starts with the well and then the backflow and then the pipe.
Why they couldn't combine them for just one total?
Because it typically there's not that much, that many funds to work with. So it's in chunks. You know, you don't need 2 or 3 unless I fix a well and so on. So they're sequential.
Well, understanding that, but I'm still with you that we.
Irrigation, one big total.
This is all irrigation. So
For
that's one,
300,000.
that's one unit.
So then that means.
Because that would, it'd be $400,000 that we would be asking for the cemetery for well, cemetery backflow and replace irrigation system. That would.
Okay, well, that's one. You want to put all into one chunk.
4 would be number 2,
What number?
whatever that number.
Barium.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's going to be, hopefully that's going to be taken care of with CARES funds.
That one,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we,
communal.
communal shelter that's going to be in there with the columbariums. So we're already kind of taking care of that. So then
What's your next one then?
I mean, we've been busy. Really, the next one would be
Office?
would be the office building. Office building is actually used to be the sexton's house, and the conference room is actually an old garage. So, yeah, it's getting ready to fall down. So it would be nice to put that on the list, especially if we put the columbariums and the communal shelter right behind it. You know, then the house is really going to stick out, or the office is going to stick out bad. So I present, I guess, 1, 2, and 3 in one chunk, and number 9 as our second request.
It makes sense to me. Maybe I don't.
That's what it did to me too.
Oh, I love that decision. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
I'm just saying, y'all.
Absolutely.
All water.
Got to get water to the grass and the tree.
Fine.
So I'd like to make a motion to consider review ranking of the top 3 of the top 2, but we're going to put 1, 2, and 3 together in an irrigation system for the cemetery, which would be estimated about $400,000. And your number 2 would be the cemetery office building.
Mhm.
And would we not want to add that $10,000 of HVAC system to go with the office building if we're combining, folks?
Sure.
So it'll be 510,000?
Well, but is that retrofitting the old office? So,
Yeah.
so it's a different.
Okay. Okay, so number 2 would be consideration of the new office building to replace existing structure.
Second.
So was that understood? Thank you.
All right, got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. It passes. Parks. Hey, haven't talked to you in a little while.
About that. Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to the second page there, number 28, says all parks. Replace damaged tables, grills, trash cans. This is like a yearly deal. We got some catching up to do, but this is asked for every year. This is, like I said, just for the picnic tables and grills. The playground is 100 grand, but we need to get in some kind of sequence to replace the tables and grills through the whole system, and that's what they would be in the trash cans.
So you're not wanting to put that together with some of your playground equipment? Because you've got your playground equipment.
We can, we try to.
You've got your playground equipment as three. Upgrade.
Mhm.
Do you know how much you need to upgrade?
Well, what I did was I studied how much time we had. We took the employees, our employee base, and when we're done with the parks, is how many hours does it take to install a playground?
Mhm.
And no matter what, I mean, this would be the cap. So if I could spend that number 3, yeah, I could put that in there. If I could spend that much money on playground equipment, that's how much the staff could install per year. So, if I asked for $1 million for the playgrounds, I'd have to find someone else to put it in. So I actually studied how much we could actually do ourselves. So yes, if you wanted to combine, if we'd like to, combine that number 1 into number 3, that would be fantastic. Is that what you were asking?
I'm trying to figure, okay, there it is. One and three. Yeah,
It's number 7 sequentially.
number 7, yeah,
Yeah.
I would have it all in one just because that
So
was
add 40, so there's
40,
595.
535, yeah,
So no, that's what I'm saying, so that'd be 595,
575.
because you're adding 4.
Yes.
75.
Yep. That would be fantastic.
And you're wanting to stay with the digital radios?
Well, that's a new thing. That's with IT. Our radios are analog, so our chunk of the new digital system that's going in, that's just that department's part. That's just for our base station and the trucks we have right now. It's a huge project for the entire city to go to digital. And this would just be our portion of the Parks Department.
Explain to me the Parks Trail lighting enhancements. Is that all along the walking path?
Yeah,
And it's a 10-year program. Are you teaming up with Xcel Energy?
no, I was teaming up with engineering.
Lewis, are you going to pay for this?
How's the lawsuit coming? That's what I want to know.
Well, the batteries, the solar lights are not worth the hoot. So we've looked at different companies and working with engineering, I'd like to start, we numbered all the ones that don't work, but then we can't get them fixed because of the battery. So I'd like to start replacing them, start at one end of the trail system and keep.
Now, you said a 10-year program,
Mhm.
but you haven't contacted Xcel Energy to see if they're willing to put some money into this?
I could give them a holler.
I mean, why can't they replace it and have their name on each pole?
I don't care. They could,
And that way they take care of it, or they take care of it the first 5 years and we take care of it thereafter, or we take care of it the first 5 years while we can still get parts. Then they have to take care of it when we can't get the
I'd be
parts.
more than happy to give them a
Reach
holler.
out to.
I would give them a holler.
All right.
Let them use us as guinea pigs for new type lighting.
Yeah, I mean, it helped us with the museum. Kind of the same thing. Remember they
Yeah,
kicked in some.
There's no reason not to reach out to the
Well,
community.
The
My
other,
opinion.
the other fund that we have, Mr. Fuentes, is the excise tax that we get from their Excel billing is supposed to go for lighting. That we receive from,
Franchise fee or?
it's a franchise fee that we get from all the citizens
Uh-huh.
pay their bill that's supposed to go to lighting. And I know we've used it for trail lighting before. And I've talked, and at the time we talked to Excel and they were more than happy that, I mean, they don't have to agree with how we spend that money, but that's generally why we have that money is to improve our lighting in our town. So I would think that we look at that fund and see where it is, because it's.
So you think maybe
What is it? It used to be 1% and then we increased it to at a time. And
Check the franchise agreement. Right now, I can tell you that those funds are deposited in the general fund.
Right.
But again, the agreement will spell out the uses for it.
I like this idea of the Styles field. We haven't done over there anything in a while, so. I'm not,
Styles football field.
when you have as your number 5, if you're gonna combine, two, can we consider that? The park communications, 35,000, I just don't know if that's something you want to put on there. That's just,
Well, it's a small amount.
Yeah.
Can we team it up with,
I was trying to find another one too, but I don't see nothing that really went with it. I was looking.
can we team it up with the trash department, all that? Because they have to use the same system.
I'll tell you, if we could get some of these items taken care of, like you say, the Styles, oh my goodness. I mean, that would be fantastic if we could give Styles some love.
You know, there's something
And I could
like a
take care of
park
them
thing every other
myself.
year. They take care of park type thing. They usually almost always grab one of our park things.
So do we want to put Styles up as
that's two.
combine 1 and 3 and then put Styles as 2?
Yeah.
Would that work for everybody?
That would be fantastic.
Everybody else thinks just like,
Okay.
okay.
Okay, no one
Is
else
that good for you, ma'am?
Yeah, I just like the
Hey,
idea.
I'd like to consider reviewing the ranking of the top 2 capital projects for parks as 1 and 3 to combine playground replacement and upgrade and replace damaged tables, grills, and trash cans as 1. And number 5, we'd like to go as 2, and we'd like to replace the entire irrigation system, playground, and equipment lighting for Styles Sports Complex.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you for your
All
support.
opposed? Thanks. Fine, it passes. Cielo Grande.
Why doesn't
Want to do that
We
one?
already have Styles Field taken care of.
Okay, so Rio Grande.
How was that part?
Is that,
That was
No.
part of the athletics. I don't think we need to reventure
no, why is
there again.
that a separate one? Why is it a separate one?
No.
Because it was under recreation.
Yeah.
In the past,
We also talked about replacing their playground equipment and lighting.
So this separate or this still part of
I
your
was just
list?
saying it's separate. Styles is part of the park system. Cielo Grande
So, yeah.
Cielo Grande Sports Complex is part of recreation.
Oh.
So, in
How did that
the,
happen?
Messing with my brain.
Right.
And it's already messed with.
We had it
Why
twice.
does some Sierra
Had it up
this
there.
stuff over here?
this could just be the list from the past, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to ask Juanita what she wants for recreation.
sure. We'll take a look at that. One of the things that you're going to notice what we did with recreation, instead of it being one whole department, we broke out the divisions. So I think one of these things for Cielo Grande, it's kind of its own division because it's such a large mass area. And so I think that's what these rankings are.
So some of them that are still on here just didn't get taken off, or why there's some Sierra Grande under parks?
This one is not my list, so I don't know. I cannot.
I'm sorry.
Well, this one says that the Styles Field is now athletics over here, or over here it says
It's park.
it's parks. So
I can answer that.
you want them combined?
Well, in the
Or you want
past,
more money, Jim? Come on.
they want more money because we're taking care of the infrastructure at Cielo Grande. The grass is good, irrigation is good. But the shame, the sad part is over there at Cielo Grande, the competition fields have lights, but yet that great big area, it doesn't. And then, of course, out in the desert, when it's hot, it would be wonderful to kind of kick back the hours of operation, or at least give recreation the choice. So since we take care of the grass and the irrigation and the trees and the trail and all that, we have a list here that I know Styles kind of duplicates it, but at the end of the day, if we could get some lights put into Cielo Grande, it would be fantastic. I would be more than happy to call X Energy on that one also. It's just, it would double the function, or at least.
So I think,
Lights at
yeah,
Sierra Grande, I'm okay with that.
I agree with that, but you can also tap in there with the soccer
Yeah. it's-
teams, and you can tap in there, not the local ones, but the AAA
mhm.
and all those little league baseball teams and all them. Oh, what is the one that Jasper used to play for?
Oh, but
They're willing to give so much as long as you follow their standards, which are metal poles, so forth and so on, and bury the cables. I mean, we're going to do that anyway.
Right.
So see if you can tap into all them and get quite a chunk of change to offset this.
All right, yeah, because
I mean, I don't mean to be rude, but let's not use all of our money if we can go use somebody else's.
absolutely,
I'm still
absolutely.
confused.
You're confused? Okay.
No, I'm just saying, okay, so you're saying you're separating, I know it used to be Parks and Recreation, right?
Now,
So instead of recreation, now it's called athletics, is that, or is?
No, ma'am.
no,
So Parks and Recreation was combined at
Yeah, I
one
know.
point.
Okay.
And we've divided it up. So Jim
Right.
oversees parks, but we work in collaboration and partnership. His staff maintains the parks and the athletics, but our staff manages all the contracts with the athletic associations and the sports tourism division. I believe it's a further conversation that we need to have to see how can we present it in a better way, I guess. But it's a collaboration between our two
And
departments.
this is where your sports tourism comes involved with your AAA and all of that, because you can call them and get their specs on these lights and say, we as a city are wanting to tap into your
organization.
agenda,
Right.
whatever, and we want to be on your calendar for kids to come and play, but we need help getting the lights up. We'll take care of the rest.
And I believe, and I don't want to speak for Jim, but I believe that's why it's its own separate thing. While it is parks and his team has the knowledge of the upgrades and the maintenance that is needed,
That's why it's listed on there, some of that, on that one, okay.
but it's its own division or entity, or will be, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
This real place is expensive.
Very.
Yes,
Those
ma'am.
numbers are all really high.
Yeah, you start buying lights,
Man.
my goodness. That's why it's
Took
kind of,
off styles for number 2, so now you need another number 2, is that what you're saying?
We want,
now, the Styles is fantastic.
well, we,
No, Styles is
Styles
over
is taken
there.
care of with parks.
So
So now with
It's on
rec,
page 15, right? Are you-
Styles was
Yes, ma'am,
was
we're
your
on
number
page
2.
Oh, yeah, take
That's what
Styles.
I'm saying.
Now
Can we
it's
do
off.
tennis court?
It's off the list. It's a, no.
so you're wanting to move the tennis courts up?
Can we know the tennis court, he only scored one thing on his
Correct.
page. So what else would we put on there?
Either the,
Full bowl lighting or tennis court
Parking.
upgrades?
Let's see. Well, we're working on the tennis court upgrades right now. Obviously, it's.
I know, but to the
Chair and-
100,000 upgrade?
Chair and councilors, and if I may add, since we are removing item number 4 because it's already been funded under parks, I believe Lewis is helping parks on an assessment of the tennis courts. There's a,
Yes.
Mhm.
so that would be one that might be a recommendation there because there's already a planning study or going to be
Right.
what that
Number 2.
fields need. So there's a.
Well, and we've already asked the public to help us with that too. We've given them, I know it's little stuff, but everything adds up. We've asked them, we've given them a donation line that they can donate 100, 200 to help pave these. But again, are we going to leave them there? Are we going to move them? You know, there's the question,
Features.
because everybody's thought about moving them.
well,
Someone's got to stay over there. Goodness, ain't nothing gonna be.
Well, yeah, and I think that's a bigger discussion because I think that if we design new tennis courts and we put new tennis courts someplace else, I still see that those tennis courts
Are there.
To
tennis
be
courts.
usable. Okay.
And so that they need to be usable. Now, to the degree that we, upgrade it, if we're going to put a tennis court someplace else, which logically to me, we move so much stuff over to Cielo Grande anyway, because that's our regional
Park. Yep.
park for the stuff that, well, there's no other place in the south. We're not going to put it next to the airport. But
What about the basketball courts? We talking about tennis courts. What about aren't there basketball courts directly next to them?
yeah, there are basketball.
Yeah,
They need love
They
too.
need some love too. That's what I'm saying. I was over.
Well, and those are things that I think we're going to be addressing as far as, are they actually maintenance issues or are they actually renovation issues? And
there's a difference.
Mr. Chair and members of the committee, one of the discussions that we've been having with Mr. Fuentes and, Mr. Matthews and Mr. Nev, with the change of recreation and some of the things that have occurred in the last couple of months, we would like to have a facility, a sports facility, at least from the recreation side, kind of target and project list of what needs to be updated. I know that Mr. Burris and Mr. Cheatham, we're working on that, and I think it will help improve this list a little bit more. So that will be forthcoming as far as kind of a project plan for update and maintenance on the sports fields.
So what do we do now? We got one.
Number one.
What do we do for
What do you
two?
want number 2 then? If y'all don't want to do my tennis court.
I'd be happy if we just put lights at Cielo Grande.
But,
What?
Put the lights at Cielo Grande. We can use the
I
property.
thought we put the lights on the other one.
We did.
At Sierra Grande. I mean, the
No,
lights on-
No, that was
That's the
Styles.
a different complex.
And you have a
Number one.
You want just one on that one?
He said, no, he said do the lights with the 750.
well, we could, I was thinking number 5, parking, Cielo Grande Sports Complex, just,
That's what he's saying with the light. Ain't that, oh, that wasn't
No.
the light. The light
number
was
5.
500.
yeah. Look at the parking and,
I would go number 5.
yeah,
You go number 5 as your number 2?
that's what I was thinking. Just,
Okay.
we're gonna get the tennis courts taken care
Are we
of
good?
prior
Are
to
we good?
this.
Are we good?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, I'd like to
That works.
consider review and ranking of the top 2 capital projects for Cielo Grande Athletics. One would be installation of new lights at the Cielo Grande Sports Complex to utilize all the fields. And 2, parking at Cielo Grande to park the cars after we use all the fields.
That works.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign.
Oh,
All right.
golf is easy.
There's only 2.
But let's make a motion and all. We can just get, go ahead.
Exactly.
And who's over the golf stuff?
Me.
Jim.
We're just going down through alphabetically.
Go ahead, Jim. Do we need to talk about golf?
You have 2 things. If there's nothing else, all right. So
Okay.
All
I'd
right,
like
go
to
ahead.
consider review of the ranking of the top 2 capital projects for golf. 1 is golf course fencing and 2 is golf course maintenance facility upgrades.
Second.
all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, same sign. It passes.
Thank you.
All right.
Consideration.
All right. Hey, you're off the hot seat.
I'm off the hot seat now. Next.
This is my first foray into the venture.
We can tell.
So,
Yeah, 'cause their
I'm
stuff is
kind of
good.
relying a lot on Andy and what Jim and Juanita had put together in the past and just trying to update our priorities and whatnot. So,
Number 1 was funded, so you can remove that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, counselors, for funding that this year.
we're looking at, so our number 1 priority now is a walk-in freezer and cooler. We potentially have some funding for that as well, but one of the reasons why we want that is in the past, our standby freezers have failed and we can lose $6,000 in meat and other products. So that's really kind of a need for us as we get more animals or more expensive products. We want that to be secured.
And also on a side note, I believe we can get products from Cayman Fish and
Yeah.
that, I don't know, that's what I was told.
We could, but that would not be part of their diet. That would be enrichment because it's not necessarily always a balanced diet.
Okay, well, I was gonna say you could save money and pay for the freezer, so there'll be a wonderful.
I'm just saying, can we 17,000,
Yeah, I-
combine that
Is there
with
something
another
we
one?
can mix with
It look
that?
like they go together, no, electric, up with electrical. None of them seem like it go with it. ADA compliance, no, that's a walkway.
Is there something?
Actually, the hay barn
freezer?
works with that because
I thought
it-
we're talking about feed.
Yeah, exactly.
We're still talking about food.
So let's put 2 and 3 together and make it 1.
Yeah, we would be able to store more hay,
That's still
get
not
bigger
a lot.
loads, keep
Still
our
food,
costs
not a lot.
down.
still
We're able to take
food,
more.
food.
That's
That's
And
still
then we can
fine.
also, instead of unloading by the bags, we can actually unload it by the pallets. instead of-
7,000, that's so close, that's 40,000, close to, more close to 40.
Yeah, we need to move that to
7,
closer to 100, 200,000.
Yeah, because that's still low, so.
May I make?
I like the
Yes,
entry
ma'am,
complex.
please do.
You know me, I like that.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm taking the meeting over.
Go ahead. Let's go.
Go ahead.
I believe one of the items, the electrical power upgrade to the facility, because it's a safety concern.
Yep, with the
I think that
freezer.
should be a higher
There you
priority.
go.
And due to the cost.
Mhm.
So we can put 2, 3, and 6 together. Because you have to have the electrical for the freezer. Dun,
Two,
dun, dun,
so
dun.
now we at,
Don't ever put lights in your barn. You work all night, is what my dad used to say. And it's true.
True statement.
so that's 137,740. So one, so we 2 and 3.
So it'd be 6, 2, 3, and 2 would all be 1.
Mhm.
Okay, so where are we going? Is that enough?
Now that's number 1. Now we get number 2.
Okay, so number 2, if I had to sit there and look at our abilities to also help generate funds, was $350,000 for a new train. The current train we had was made, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, 1972.
I love the.
Something like that.
Has 2 overhauls at least on it.
They could use a new engine.
Right. I have talked with Chance in the past and have gotten a current rate on a new electrical motor. The locomotive itself costs $250,000. I have priced out the diesel or a regular other gas powered. And for the cars and the train locomotive aspect is probably about $250,000. So plus any extras and things like that. So I don't have a really current price, but I probably have this 350 is pretty close to what I've seen in the past as well. Could we potentially get a new used one? I know Louisville was getting rid of theirs because they had a sinkhole. So there is the potential, but we do need a new train, however we get one, if it's new or used, or if it's brand new off the line from Chance out of Wichita.
So explain to me about your electrical thing here. Everybody seems to be wanting going green, and that might tap into our electrical power upgrade.
Yeah, the locomotive itself, which would still accommodate the same cars, is $250,000. I'm assuming that probably the 3 remaining cars, similar to what we have, would be that extra $100,000 based on this price range. The cars themselves are also older and we're having brake issues, so it's also good to upgrade that. So I think maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, you were looking at the electrical because that would be about in that right price range.
Electrical and an ADA car.
Yeah,
A real one?
So is that going to include the plug-in? Because I'm sure the plug-in's a special plug-in for a car. Or are we going to bring it down to McDonald's and plug it in down here at their new one?
Tesla thing?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be battery operated or is it going to be?
it will be battery operated,
It'll be
so we would
battery
have to make
operated.
sure that that's a
So that's
component
gonna-
I don't know about yet.
That's going to add to your electrical down
Right.
here.
If you want to go electrical, this is the way to go. But the challenges also come down to is I don't know the price of a battery. So we know our DeWalt's and all those electric
Yeah.
motors. You're not paying for the mower, you're paying for that battery.
Yeah.
So that could actually be a cost down the road.
The question is, how long does the battery last?
Yeah,
Blah, blah,
and do we
blah.
have skilled people in town to
No,
fix
we
it for
don't.
us as well?
No, we don't.
So I would recommend going with the gas powered
Yeah.
as well.
For now.
Yep.
And if somebody wants to donate, like Tesla wants to donate an electric train, give them a call.
Assuming they can put their name on.
There you go.
And then
So
number
we
5
make
is just a continuation of the Freno entry building, entry area, farm experience and the whole bit. So
Okay.
Which is another reason to update the train.
yep, exactly.
So number 1 is combining
2, 3, and
6, and number 2 is the new train.
Is that where you want to sit?
Is that where you want to stay?
That's where I would like to say, because the train can help us generate more revenue when it's consistent.
All right. Go ahead. Anybody
You good with
question?
that, Barry?
I'm good with that.
Okay. Consider review and ranking of the top 2 capital projects for the zoo. Add 2, 3, and 6 together, which is 2 is walking outdoor 10 by 10 freezer, 5 by 5 cooler with the floor throughout. Grain bin next to the hay barn with electricity in it. An electrical power upgrade to facilities for safety. Number 2 would be a new gas-powered train.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. It passes.
So, Mr. Chair and members of the committee, I have Damian and April here from the Recreation Department. You're going to see 2 slides. Your first slide is where it's the full Recreation Department, which is Recreation, Aquatics, and Adult Center. What we did is we also broke down adult center and pool as their own. And so we would leave it to you on how you would like to proceed. But we felt that those were divisions within recreation that should be broken out and voted on separately. But you can see our ranking through recreation, and I have Damien here to share why they were ranked in that order.
So, I mean, we're in a little different situation than a lot of other people where we have this nice brand new facility. So we don't have a lot of problems and upgrades that are needed right now. But signage is number one because we have this brand new building and we just have that little piece of wood sign out there on the corner that's surrounded by all the trees and you just barely see it. We really need a more of a presence on that corner there as far as signage. And then as far as our number two is our biggest problem we have in that facility is hot water. Our hot water is located behind the gym. And so it's got to push water from there all the way to the showers in the pool.
Need a pump.
Yeah, so we were to relocate that closer to the pool. So that we have, I mean, they're letting the showers run so they can get hot water over there. And
I don't know why.
and they're taking cold showers. So that's really, and then we have no washer and dryer facilities
I won't say.
in the building. So we have to go over to the adult center to do laundry, which so does
So
a lot of other.
I have a quick question. How come we didn't have a pool scoreboard when all this was put in? Because we were planning on,
It was
How you engineered out.
okay,
engineered out.
so can we put the pool scoreboard with the signage? Because you're looking at 70,000 and you're looking at 33. Let's add those two together. Is there another signage on here somewhere?
No, but I think also that the signage also goes with the trees irrigation and the outside landscape expansion.
What number is that, babe?
That's number 3
Okay,
at 250. So that runs that up. And
okay. So we'll take, it'll be 1, 1, and 1. So number 8, number 3, and number 1 will be 1?
right.
Okay,
Number 8, number 3.
okay.
Number 1, okay. So
We're trying, Damien.
No, you're fine.
And I have them
You're fine.
like this is adult center only.
I know, but if
But
are we
like-
combining them together?
Oh, okay, this is-
Messing this up by trying to combine these.
Because I'm thinking, I do think the adult center should probably be.
By itself, so that's a whole separate
Yes.
business.
It's separate. And so I think we should take that stuff forward with it. But I agree. I mean, that pool scoreboard should have been in there.
It should be, because we can't have competition if you don't have a
Conduit's
scoreboard.
run already, right?
Conduit's there, and I believe we finally got the touch pads right at the last second, or at least the conduit's there, right? Put it in.
Everything's there for touch pads, everything.
Right.
So that's 353,000.
Recreation center,
Adding those
outdoor
three together.
expansion. Does the outdoor expansion also go with the outdoor party room?
No, it's,
Dang it, guys, work with me here.
I mean, you
Yeah.
can.
And Damon.
All outdoors.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
One of the, if I may, one of the challenges with running the rentals, and correct me if I'm wrong, I know that I had a complaint just a couple of weeks ago. We had a private party rent out the outdoor pool and the party room. And one of the challenges was because their party's outdoors, then they have to come in through the inside indoor pool, down the hallway of the lockers, through the lobby of the round circle, and then past the offices, then to the party room.
Okay, so you're wanting this outdoor party room next to the pool
Yes, so that's the intention.
and the outdoor expansion. Where is that going to go?
The outdoor expansion is adding on to the pool, like making it a much larger outdoor pool area than what we currently have.
We need that, but I'm struggling with that because, you know, we just built that pool and spent all that money and I just feel like I'm.
Well, and you're looking at $1.2 million, whereas the
Right.
party room is just 150,000. And you add that to the outdoor expansion, they're going to look at that and say, oh, we don't think so. What do you think, Barry?
Well, I mean,
Outdoor party room 150
adding that outdoor party room to,
to the what? To the
Outdoor
outdoor
expansion
expansion.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Is it going to the 1.2 million?
Mhm.
But we're still not covering the plumbing upgrades, the hot water.
Yeah, you're in one.
Oh,
Oh, no, I see.
no, we were 1, 3, and 8. We got 1,
Well,
3, and
let's
8.
put 2 right in there with it.
What, 1, 2,
1, 2,
3?
3, and 8. You're gonna ask,
Yeah.
It was 450.
because it's just 100,000.
Yeah.
It's just
Just
100,000.
Yes.
That'd be 453 total for all those
That's
four.
just 100,000. Yes, sir. Why are you looking at me?
You want it, are you okay with putting those?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And that's the idea with these is it's not, I mean, if we ask for 70,000, I mean, if we ask for this and we get 70,000, we can say, oh, that's going to go towards this. But if we, I mean, we might as well ask,
Absolutely.
and then we can.
They're gonna give you what they want to give you anyway.
Yeah, and so, and that's basically, and then, yeah.
All right, and so that's for recreation. So now we need to go to this paper,
Well,
need
we
to-
still
No, we
number
need to
two,
number 2 for recreation,
on this page.
outdoor party room.
without adult.
Outdoor party room,
An expansion.
I think
and
you should. put
expansion.
the
Let's put those
expansion and Yeah, I think you should put 4 and 6 together. What do you think, Barry?
And that works. I mean,
Easy to spend our own money.
one thing that has gotten me that we did build this one and we did the renovations at the Rex, or at the convention center, I want to say Civic Center, Convention Center. And we didn't put emergency generators in either one of those places. Because if we have a facility.
Right.
If we have an emergency,
Call the
we don't.
National Guard.
well, actually, NIMI has some, but that's, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, councilors, and that's a fantastic statement. If you could squeeze that in somewhere. Security wise, we moved some city's servers to the rec center. It was actually designed for that in a little room. And the original plans had a generator. It goes out back behind that fence. And it was part of the cost cutting during that project. The conduits there, cities, IT equipment's going in there. And really an additional generator, maybe some air conditioning that would protect the city's property. So, you know, it's kind of a city thing. It just happens to be in the recreation building.
And it's one of those things that
Yeah, it needs to happen.
understanding that when our servers go down,
Yeah.
many things go down.
Thing,
Besides our phones.
Security, phone, and IT.
Yeah, and security. Yeah, so, and that's one of those things that.
Where are you gonna put that?
all right, that,
With 4 and 6?
no, that's,
In 4, 5, and 6 all
Yeah.
together.
We can do that. Because if you look on your page 21, you've already got your pool completely taken care of on that. So you don't even have to go to that list. Does that make sense? Because you've already got it taken care of in 238.
And it's one of those that if we have it as written into the ICIP and they just want to find the 550,000, we know that that's going to get the emergency. And so yeah, I don't mind that way. That's almost 2 million.
lower total instead of the higher, because I went up with the generator with the scoreboards, the lower,
Well, you know, we could.
so the other total doesn't.
Let me just say real quick, just as a friendly reminder, we are developing the ICIP, and remember, towards, as we get closer to the end of the year, into the new legislative session, the council will be selecting the top 5 that will be presented for state funding. This will allow us the opportunity to seek out funding opportunities that the state funding source says, where is the project in your ICIP? In addition to this will help us as we develop going to the next fiscal year's budget. These projects, whatever didn't get funded from all these other different sources, will give us an opportunity to fund it through our own budget as well. That's why you saw some of the projects that have this year that were funded, that were priority last year. just want to kind of just share that.
Correct.
I have no problem putting them together and asking for the moon
Well, but
but leave them to where they're cut out. So they're labeled separate. So if we get an X amount and it's not the whole thing, we choose this over that. It'll come back
But
here.
I think we should put the emergency generators with the signage and the
it kind of does go,
scoreboards, there's electrical stuff.
and it's going to be outside.
Don't look, yes.
Outside expansion.
Down some.
Might better when you wire a generator, run electricity to the corner for the sign, because there isn't any.
Right.
Right.
So yeah, that'll work. We
I mean,
can wire.
And that gets that one under $1 million. It's
Yeah.
993,000.
There you go.
Okay. Consider review and ranking of top 2 capital projects for the recreation center. We're going to combine 1, 2, 3, 8, and 5. 1 is signage for the corner of Montana and College. 2 is move hot water closer to the pool and add washing machine and dryer. 3 is tree irrigation and rocks. 5 is facility for emergency events, a generator. And 8 is scoreboards located in the indoor pool area for meets and competitions. Our number 2 ranking is 4 outdoor expansions and 6 a party room.
Outside.
Outdoor party room with shade. With shade.
Have a motion in a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. It passes.
Now we go to the adults.
Adult Center.
Down and start over.
So I have April Hunter from the Adult Center.
There she is.
Oh, I didn't see it.
So the first one on my list would be the room 27 remodel with the security system and the bathroom remodel ADA compliant. The group I understand has actually been on the list for a few years already. So of course, that's going to be number 1 on our list. Number 2 on the list would be, of course, the plumbing upgrades on a regular basis in this building. You can walk in the front doors and smell the most horrible sewer smell. That's when you come in the front doors, and then it gets a lot worse on the what we call the new addition to the south side of the building. So right there, that would be part of the plumbing upgrades / our kitchen is really, really, really what I call retro,
Right.
like 70s retro. Yeah, 50s maybe even. So that would be great. So that of course would be number 1 and number 2. Ceiling repairs is where we've got small leaks throughout the building, which I would
I think
say
we
is
should
probably about
combine that with the other one.
5 or 6 of those. After careful counting and tracking of numbers, it seems to be that our billiards participants are what we get the most traffic from right now.
That's a little room.
So that's why we have a billiards expansion for them to expand into room 22. Of course, wish for as possible, that would be great.
I think it's missing a 0.
Yeah, me too, because that's $10,000. Is that what you said? It's missing a 0.
Oh, yeah, it's missing a 0.
$10 million?
Like,
No.
maybe 100,000.
100,000.
$100,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the billiards expansion room was 100,000. Ceilings, yeah.
I'm sorry. I personally, again, I'm with the roof. I have a problem with roof leakage. I don't mind if my kitchen's a 50s, but I have a problem with sewer. If you're the health department and they go in there and take a look at that, smell it, they're going to shut us down. So
the biggest
Combined.
issue we have is in room 27. That room is actually closed right now because of the roof.
it has
issue.
been for years.
Yes.
So 1,
Put 1 and
1,
three together.
2, and 3 together.
At least 1 and 3, yeah.
I mean, kitchen doesn't take much to upgrade. I shouldn't say that. I've been
You're
doing
still
for 8
doing
years.
I was gonna say, what?
Been doing yours for a year, so.
We got this recorded.
You have your own,
already said
you have
that.
your own contractors though. I have problems. So that would be my recommendation is put 1, 2, and 3 together. But my main concern is the sewer and the leakage.
So at least combine 2 and 3 and then do 1? Or you want to put all of them?
I'd like to put all three of them together.
$600,000? That seems like,
I'd like to put 1, 2, and 3 together, and then 4 or 5 would be your number 2.
Well, 5 is deferred maintenance, the 5 million.
that's different.
And,
Yeah, we're not gonna put them.
So yeah, I could see 1, 2, and 3, and then 4 by standalone, 100,000. Because it's one of those that it's enough that
Yeah,
if they,
And you got numbers for the billiard room expansion? Y'all just random or y'all already walked through and
Just
is that an
more
accurate
random.
number? You just do that number in
It's
the,
more random. It's more like, okay, if I get this large amount, then I can do this much more.
and that's something we can ask for. You can go to Special Olympics and ask for money from them. Go to other places and ask for money. Go to and have one of the billiard people donate sticks and balls and new
but you're talking about
slates.
knocking the wall out. We're not talking
Yeah.
about balls and.
And I
tables.
understand that.
You're talking about that wall, that back long room, y'all, that you're talking about knocking that wall out and spreading, not where the kitchen is, but that back room where we had the parties and
Come north, yes. we
to that other
have
door. So you knock it.
It's
so you
not a
make it
major wall, is it,
little
Fran?
narrower. No,
I was
there's
not a
another
part
door
of
through there.
Okay, so you don't know if it's a major wall, a major holding wall?
I don't know, because there's a hallway through there. Isn't there some door we go around?
Yes, there is on the other side of.
I'd be hanging.
We'd have to make sure it's not a load-bearing wall.
So we could, maybe we should up that number.
Which thoughts?
well,
I think putting 1 and 2, those first 2 together is a good idea. So to the 4. The first 3 together, that's what you're saying?
first 3, yeah, that's what I was thinking. First 3 together and then 4 by standalone.
Okay, consider review and ranking of the top 2 capital projects for the adult center. We would like 1, 2, and 3 to be moved together. Room 27 remodel, security system, bathroom remodel, ADA compliant, parking lot improvements and window replacements, bathroom, kitchen, and overall plumbing upgrades, ceiling repairs in most rooms. And number 2 will be 4 expansion, paint holes on the walls, and the billiard room. That was the motion.
Oh, second, I was,
I'm like, I was worried. I missed
Okay,
something.
Okay, I've got a motion and a
I was
second.
still doing some math. I was trying to.
After, just for clarification, I believe Councilor Best, you mentioned about keeping all of these items separated, but as a number 1 item.
Yes, correct.
Even from the prior projects list, all of them, we're going to keep them separated, but we're going to identify them as.
They're all going to go under the number 1.
That's right.
But we're going to target them out. So if we only get so much of that money, we can come back to the committee and we can say, we want that one over that one.
All right.
That way, we're not grouping them together and they're in the general funds and I like specifics. All in
Capital
favor?
outlay, won't go to general,
Yay,
but yeah.
yay, all
All in
in favor?
favor?
Yay.
Yay. Aye. All opposed, same sign? Okay. Boom. All right, Bob.
Wait.
We like that one.
Got John, do I talk,
I'm scared I got Rita at my back. She's here.
Hold on.
All right. So we have, I just covered up my agenda. So we have number 3, consider approval of the CES contract for to waive the construction. Who's-
Keep going.
Oh,
Right. Mr. Chairman, committee members, here in the February city council meeting, council approved the 2 concepts for the McBride's Veteran Cemetery improvement. The legislative appropriation was approved in FY20 capital improvement fund budget. It was grant 19-D 2950 for $516,000 for design, construction, and purchase of veteran cemetery improvements. We're asking that you consider the approval of the award recommendation, the CES contract in the amount of $139,904.44 to be constructed by Wade Construction. just to give you some additional background, the A&E costs that we have out of that 516,000 were 39,320. With this first honor guard, this includes both honor guard shelters for 139,904, would leave a balance of 336,775.56 for additional renovations and things down the road. I have been in communication with the veterans group. They're on board, and we just ask that you move forward with staff recommendation.
I don't have any
Questions? Because we've already pretty much.
Yeah, we talked about that and had the pictures last time with the.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we talked about all that.
So let's give this a shot and send it to consent agenda. Since
much
our
is it?
Mr. Orpesa didn't bother to
It's
come,
139,000.
since he didn't bother to come to his own meeting. So
Don't hush.
I'd like to send to consent agenda, consider approval of the CES contract number 2020-09B-R 1206-567 by Wade Construction Company for construction of 2 honor guard shelters built to the drawings and specifications of Hiltz Zollers. It's dollars in the amount of $139,904.44.
Second.
I was gonna say something. I was gonna say something smart, but I'm gonna be nice.
All right.
No need to be.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
The consent agenda.
yes,
Um,
give it a try.
All opposed, same sign. It passes. Good job. Number 4.
Ah,
Look at these. Look at this. Now,
we have
more
guests.
pictures?
Yeah, yes, Monday infrastructure, we had to go old school. The TV was down. I didn't know how big of a TV we were gonna have today,
Yeah.
but I came prepared.
Thank you.
Follow along.
This is a lot of paper.
It's okay, it was only one tree.
I was in school today. I don't have it read enough. I like
So-
pictures.
I'm back with the Spring Trail. And just to refresh your memory, we're looking at Mississippi, so here's the Spring River Trail crossing here. So you would go up Montana, you'd cross the street, go across Riverside, then you would go up to the west side of Mississippi till you get to 8th Street. The options I put money to, one option would be go straight across to the trail or go along the sidewalk and then back to the trailhead, start over here. Next slide, please. These are the options. This is the option, direct asphalt trail. You do cross the drainage area, so you need pipe. Slide. The sidewalk, they're very similar in cost. There's hard money and there's soft money because I am showing the actual cost of city crews. The only cost that I did not include is the cost of the golf course to relocate the fence at an angle to give a better sight distance. Next slide, please. Only slide you put in. She,
Mess it up.
yeah.
Sorry.
See, I came ready. It's old school.
I know. I'm sorry.
So,
I'm gonna find it.
no.
We got paper.
I got paper.
We're good.
Yeah, I
We
know.
got a tree.
Let me share this with you.
We got a tree.
I think I deleted it when I think.
Yeah, this is the, well, the guys that went to Parks and Rec, they've seen this one before. So I'm gonna walk you to the trail, because sometimes it's a whole lot easier if I walk you to the trail with pictures. So that's a Spring River crossing right there in Montana, where you would be headed north. You can follow the pictures. And just because I want to explain some of this stuff, because I have a feeling not everybody's driven it or walked it. And then you're looking west on Riverside. So you would have the trail on one side or the other.
I like the idea of it on the north side. I never occurred, that didn't occur to me. I always thought being against the fence.
Well, I'm just trying to go with the flow.
That makes sense.
That sidewalk's never used, just so you know.
Yeah, but the sidewalk, I wouldn't be putting them on the sidewalk, I'd be putting them on the street.
It has to
But there's no
And that
traffic there.
sidewalk is in bad shape. And that big tree is one of the problems. Okay, so then you get to Mississippi and you're now looking north. You may hang a right, exactly. And then, so we would be walking on the west side or on the left side. I've driven this all times, night, day, morning for the past month. Most of the time, the west side, I think I've seen one vehicle parked there the whole time. So then you would be walking there, and that's the next block. As you're walking again, that west side looks like a good spot for a trail. And then the next picture, 8th Street looking north, that's where you get to 8th Street. And that's where you would want to walk straight, where there'd be an ADA ramp. You would want to walk straight to the trail right there along the trees. But as you can see, that's a drainage area too. So to do that, you would have to put pipes and build your trail up to basically bridge over the detention area. Or that's the option with the pipes. Then the other way is you're looking west to the existing trailhead. You would put I'm recommending, I think, an 8-foot sidewalk on the back of the side curb. You would walk straight west.
So you'd be out of the street.
So you'd be out of the street.
Okay.
Walk straight east, right? Straight
Yeah.
east, yes, sir.
To your corner.
West, and I was like, wait, yeah. So east, yeah. Yeah, looking east, okay. And then you would get to 8th and Montana where the trail already starts.
Yeah.
We're on this picture right now. Okay, so that's where it starts. And then I've got another picture there. I'm emphasizing it again because there's actually a drainage ditch there, right there on the left side of the trail. And that's to come, if you look at my options, I have to have a drainage underneath the sidewalk drain.
But that's less than the one that pipes over.
Well, I mean, they're a combination of hard and soft money. Then we have Friends of the Spring River here, corridor.
I'd rather keep people off 8. I'd like them to cross 8, but not go down 8, because that's a crazy.
Well, that's what
street.
Parks and Recreation requested, and you can see the ditch. So there's the option. Parks and Recs Commission requested the option going straight through.
I like going straight through due to the fact that 8th Street is crazy. I mean, these folks are out all times of the morning walking and riding bikes in front of my house.
So that would be the hard and soft cost of $58,000.
Yeah.
Again, the other thing that I'm doing on this one, for those who've been around me a long time, I'm recommending speed humps.
Yes.
Because now we're gonna have people walking on the street, and it's a new thing to Roswell, another bigger city that's not a new thing. So I would have speed humps on the riverside and every block, just to get to have people slow down. It would be striped and it would be signed, but I'd like to experiment with the speed humps for the station. Because I'd rather err with safety.
That's a good place for those speed humps.
And a speed hump versus a speed bump has about a 5-foot top. Well, it's not so hard, but it still slow you down, wake you up. And
What about rumble before the speed hump?
no, I wouldn't.
Wake them up before they hit the hump.
Well, I have the sign speed humps and after, because usually in almost every street, especially neighborhood street, it's the same people driving it over. And you don't realize what it is.
We have one speed hump on down at the base, don't we? Isn't there, or is that just the way the
The only
street
place
is?
the only place I put modified speed bumps is the alley behind the old Sears.
Yeah.
Because people were using it pretty,
That's a street.
so we put
Yeah,
those
kinda
are
getting a little-
bumps to slow them down.
Did I kind of toe up the front of my little car?
Yeah, because people were using the alley of the street, and you shouldn't have been using it, Counselor.
They were also racing.
I just go real slow now.
All right, so the commission voted for it to go straight through?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I agree.
And I stand for any questions.
I like the sidewalk, but I'm not gonna.
On 8 though.
The other thing I want to tell you what goes along with this is that one of the committees, infrastructure, this committee would have to then come up with a resolution. Because now we have to have a resolution to tell the people on the west side, no parking. if you remember, I think Janine was around, when we did all the no parking around the schools,
Mhm.
we passed resolution for all the locations where there was
Yeah,
no
and there's
school.
no reason why they should be parking on the street anyway.
But we would have it by
Most of
resolution, so I could sign it, and then PD could enforce it.
If you look at the housing, they have their.
Yeah, all the houses on the West Street.
They've got.
And I
West
agree with
side,
you. I've
no.
only seen that one house
Yeah.
that,
Not-
the one that parked up in
Yeah,
the.
none of them actually face the front to
Yeah.
Mississippi. But, you know, you have the cost is one thing, and then we still have the resolution that we have to pass. And I could carry that through infrastructure if you wish. But it's part of the staging that we got to do. I have to have a resolution to put no parking in a case like this, and that way PD can enforce it.
We can do it through this, or I can take it through legal.
Yeah, however you want to do it,
Whatever
but
we
that-
wanted.
Just want to give you all the
Public
aspects
safety,
of it.
because it
Right.
falls under all of it.
So we're going to send it straight up to council?
I'm good.
And Bob, are y'all happy?
I don't feel daggers in my back.
And this is just the start, because I still say we end up connecting it from the west eventually.
Well, I still have my application in.
Yeah.
And if you look at the last slide of my PowerPoint, I just reminded you that. And my paper PowerPoint.
Your paper PowerPoint?
Oh, yeah.
Free.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reminding you that I have an application in for fiscal year 23 money.
Yeah.
I think 225,000. I have 2 applications for some more trails as well.
And who knows when those will come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one we need.
So we'd like to see, unless you send a full council review and approval of trail concept option straight.
Yeah.
Then have the letters, no.
We don't have a number on this
We
one.
don't have a
no
number.
numbers.
Yeah.
Option Mississippi.
This is option Mississippi.
Okay.
Crooked Eye.
So review and approval trail connection option Mississippi to connect the Spring River Trail and the Cielo Grande Trail. And legal will present a resolution at the same time because you have legal before tonight.
We have legal tomorrow.
Yeah, their agenda's already.
Dang. But we can go ahead and agree and get it started. And get the resolution. Did you get that motion? Kind of my hodgepodge way?
Yes, ma'am.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. It passes.
Yay, finally.
Thank you, Councilman.
11 years, 15, 20?
110, I think.
Why are we not?
As long as they don't
on the
take-
park I want that.
Which part you want? Go home.
Oh, it's way over off of Sycamore.
Lands?
Huh?
Enchanted lands?
Capitan.
Oh, El Cap.
It needs all the living.
I have.
Yeah. Oh, that's where we're gonna be eventually, we can take up.
Sure. I haven't seen that meeting yet.
All right. Consider approval for Carpenter Park.
That way.
Item 5.
Yeah. I can go. It's on the playground. Counselor chair. That's, this is the playground which is gonna, stick in on the park. It will fit. It's kind of a standard playground set that we have in Linda Vista. And remember last night we were down in Virginia about that park, the public, like, oh, we like that one. Just take this one and stick it down there in Virginia. This is actually photographs of the park we've already installed. So this is what we're talking about, putting in Carpenter. It will fit. It's under 60,000 as part of that project. It falls under amenities for Carpenter Park. 59 grand for the equipment, including the border and bark. Does not include installation yet.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I'm still working on installation, trying to barter that cost, but that's what we're gonna put in the Carpenter.
Okay, what about shade? Ain't that metal one to get hot?
That's plastic.
It's plastic, I could.
Yeah, you can't even get metal anymore,
Okay.
but the kids love this.
So there's no shaded area in that park at all?
No.
for any of the
trees. There's more trees in Carpenter down by the health department than the Vista. That kind of gives you an idea, just a
And
visual.
Council Moore, you can actually see that park at Linda Vista.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be cool.
And that's, we were at the we had public input.
Little
Public input, and we had a lady who lives in the Chisholm area, says she drives her kids to Linda Vista to play because they like that one.
There's a bunch of, we haven't told nobody, but there's a bunch of people driving this park to use it. And so, well, we must have got it right, because we did ask the public on this one. We asked public input on this one, and this is what they came up with. And we built it, and everybody in town goes up there, so it's kind of nice. I like the, this little saucer, especially down there by the health department. They help, can't remember the name of the company that helps with the prosthesis. They come with the kids, and they make them new arms, legs. They go over and have picnics there in that park. So now, you imagine little children, if you have spina bifida or something, I get you up there and you're Superman now.
Yeah.
So it actually has something for everybody. But just want to give you a heads up, see what's going on.
Cool.
So this is 59. We still have approximately 114. So this will have but the installation will still cost.
And we, of course, then we need to throw in some trash cans, couple 50 tables, that kind of stuff.
And I'd like to see just a couple of shade structures around the splash pad, just because we have a couple of benches there that, designed, I'm sure, for parents to sit and watch, but they're just out in the
benches.
Yeah, well, they're just, I mean, there's no shade whatsoever right around there. So if there was some way we could have a little shade over people watching the kids.
Let me get the final construction of what they're gonna cost to put this in, labor.
Then we can see what we got left.
Bounce over and see if we can get you something to shade.
one or two, yeah. Metal, something.
Could do a small Ramada or something, kind of like what's
We can
over.
buy umbrellas and take their umbrellas with them. Stop it. You keep giving them stuff, they keep wanting more. I'm
Continue to
sorry.
review.
Just wear their hats underneath.
Yeah, sunscreen. Are you done?
I don't know.
So we don't have.
We don't need a motion on this.
Oh, no, look at this showing us up
We
here.
have one more though. We want to find out where we are on our cemetery gates.
That's the one on the main street.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait for someone to tell me how much the steel costs to make one. Now, right now, we want to put livestock gates on there.
It looks so much better with just the livestock gates.
It's better than it
Here's something, if we just fix things, we don't tell anybody, a lot of times after the family left and the cemetery
Yeah.
closed, there's lots of emotions. And they won't go in there at night. It don't matter. They'll cut the lock, they'll cut the chain, and as you see, or they'll drive their vehicle through the gate. And if they want in, they're getting in, and it's just, it's sad, and we just want to repair it.
Well, and that's where, I mean, I've been sending them updates of pictures of how every time, because when I drive by it in the morning, it still had that chain link and the iron, and it was crooked.
Yeah, like
And it was like, we did it for almost 18 months, it seemed like, and I was like, come on, we got to have something that just looks, that doesn't look like it's half.
Oh, that's next.
You asked, and we did it.
And you remember, councilors, why we shut the west cemetery gate?
Yes.
Too many people were using the cemetery as a shortcut.
I still eventually would like to have a walking gate that they.
Pedestrian gate, yeah.
Pedestrian gate on the east side. There's a widow that lives over on East Poe
Oh, yeah.
that would walk to her husband's grave. Well, when we shut that down, there's no way she can walk all the way around to the west side. She has to drive now to go over to her. And it just, there's plenty of park area that we could easily, they could park and walk, or just people who could, and it would still, the same purpose. No one's going to be driving through it, but that way they could, access from that side too, just so they don't have to. And it would probably help, not so much wear and tear on the roads in there, because if they could get to the east side of the cemetery without driving in, they don't have to drive all the way through.
For the traffic off 285 though.
Yeah, the only thing, and Janine's exactly right. That is New Mexico DOT.
Yep.
Right away, and you start parking cars there, they're gonna tell us to lock the gate.
Yep.
Well, but but there's about a 60 or 70 foot distance
In front of the
between.
gate, there's an
Between.
area in front of the gate people stop now anyway.
And they squeeze through, they climb squeeze through
It's just
right
something
there.
we would have to watch if people started doing that. 'Cause DOT would react and tell us, okay, you
Well, and that's,
build a turnout, a parking facility with driveways and all this stuff. And then now you're talking substantial.
well, and that's where, I mean, if there's a way we could do just with some, you know, like
What you do is you put in the gate and see what happens.
Yeah.
If it's just people walking from the neighborhood, that makes sense. If it's people, just one or two cars, the DOT wouldn't. But once you start getting a lot of people parking,
yeah,
then
we'd have to make it to a point where there wouldn't be able to park
Yeah,
only
it's
but
like
one or
the
two cars.
UFO thing on 285.
Yeah.
At first, hardly anybody stopped to look at it. Now they cut the fence and everybody walks in.
Yeah.
To get pictures with it.
And still aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Wait till you see my R and wayfinding.
Oh. All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I know that was a thorn in your side, or I was a thorn in your side for a while. Yeah, but I kept sending those pictures on a monthly basis. Okay.
I was hoping to get a wrought iron gate done, but it's just steel prices and it's just unbelievable. And I'm assuming they're gonna come back down eventually. And chain link fence, you couldn't get chain link fence, couldn't get the parts, but we'd have done it ourselves. So it's like, you know what, just go to livestock, give me some gates, put them on, we're done. We had it done in less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
And it looked
Spray paint them
so much
black and
better.
they look just as,
Put deals on it so hopefully people can see they're there.
put wheels on them so they can roll because of the weight, because
Yep.
it's a big span across there.
Yep.
All right. Well, anything else? Any public comment? Okay, no. We wore them all out.
Yeah. It's like, really? That's a hoot.
No, I gotta be careful.
Appreciate y'all.
Adjourn the meeting.
Well, adjourn the meeting at 6:07.
And thanks for the support on our project. It's done. You know what? I mean, it's just cool if we can get something done.
I know, and I hope,
There's Mama. Hi, Mama.
hope we didn't,
Hi. It's Carrie Tingley.
We actually heard you.
That organization that Jim was talking about is Carrie Tingley Hospital, and they work orthopedics for children.
All right, yeah, that Mama knew what the name was. I can't even spell it, but I know the kids are there.
Bye-bye.